Let me put you on some game. In the next few minutes, we're going to talk about the system, the real system. We're going to talk about how to break the system, how to break out of it, how to win. I've done it. Hold up. No, I haven't done it. I was raised in a middle class to upper class black family in Ohio. Liberal mom, conservative dad, lots of brothers. And now I'm living in South LA. Beautiful wife, awesome kid. And I really wanted to talk to you all about some things that I think are going on in our community. This podcast is targeted directly at black folk. I'm going to be unapologetic about that. I mean, there's all types of groups of people that do all types of community-based, community-targeted good work. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to be completely unapologetic about that. And, you know, I have a very diverse set of friends. I mean, very diverse set of friends. And, you know, some of the people that I grew up with, they're probably going to think like, man, this dude's on some like Malcolm X shit. And, you know, whoa. I know you guys are like, whoa, what's going on? I'm not racist. I don't hate white people. I hope you listen. I think this will benefit anyone who listens. The themes, the values that I speak of are universal. So I think everyone should know that, but also know that this is targeted towards my community. I see a community that could be better. And I see a community that is pretty monolithic in the way we think, in the way we approach problems. And I want to provide alternatives. I think they're better alternatives than what we've been doing. Look at the results. Statistically, things aren't great. It's not bad. I mean, not every black person in America is poor or struggling or whatever. I mean, I'm doing great. I've got, like I said, beautiful family. I really feel like I'm valued at my job. I've got good friends. Not as many friends as I used to be honest with you. Not everyone can deal with my opinions. And quite honestly, I think that's pretty dangerous. That you can cut off people you know because they have different political opinions. But we'll get into all that. Actually, let's stay with that for just a second because this is important. I am really trying to stay focused here. No, I'm talking about petty, name-calling, slave thought, tearing each other down for no reason. Now, if you disagree with me, great. Let's talk about the content. But if you want to call me a race traitor or a sellout or disconnected from my community or whatever, you're going to get ignored. Like, down in the comments, I'm not responding to that garbage. I'm not. I don't have time for it. And again, the goal of this podcast is to uplift the black community. Now, just because I don't want to deal with some liberal garbage, some leftist junk, then you're going to demonize me. That's fine. But I'm going to challenge you on that because oh my gosh. You guys ride with Hollywood, who hates us, who makes us look foolish. You guys ride with folks who support Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood was set up to control our population. You don't know the history behind that? Oh, I'm going to tell you all about the history behind that. You ride with people who are in the same party that set up slavery and the KKK and lynching and segregation and come on. That's cool. I don't think you're part of that apparatus. You just vote for them. And that's fine because you've been taught a certain way to think. And because voices like mine are silenced. And I gotta be honest with you, it's not easy to do this. I mean, like I said, I got family, friends. They all have opinion on this. Most of them, if not all of them, I'm not really doing this for. So, I gotta get past that. But it's challenging. I want you guys to know I'm a three-dimensional person. I got all types of stuff going on. I got a 9 to 5. And I'm just trying to put out some different information. Some information that doesn't usually get distributed widely. And hopefully, we can share some different ideas and solve some problems together. That's what I'm really trying to do. And, but it's not going to be easy. I'm in LA, this ain't Hollywood, that's for sure. But it's the content and, I think the production will be cool here and there. Hopefully we'll be entertaining. But we're going to be real as heck. I mean, we're going to be real. This is who I am. And this is what I'm going to do. So let's go over the podcast really quickly. Let me tell you a little bit about the podcast in terms of the story arc, the theme or themes that we're going to be trying to communicate in order to make some leeway on some issues. So the first episode, this is episode 0, this is kind of like the intro, pilot, whatever. So the first episode is called Anatomy of a Race War. So my marketing team, which is random people on YouTube, they told me I have to start out with something really catchy. Get to the action and then find a way to build the rest of the story in. So that's what we're going to do. And actually, I think it makes a lot of sense because, look, here's what it all comes down to. The trajectory that this country is on could end in a really bad conflict. And in my humble opinion, that conflict would bore itself out in a race war. It's not pretty. It's not something that I'm advocating. And listen to the song. And that song will open up the episode, and then listen to the episode, and I think you'll get it, and I think you'll love the action plan on this one. Episode 2. Episode 2 is Counterculture. Counterculture was our single. And we released it on the night of the Democratic debates and got, couple hundred views. It was great. Good piece of art, I think. A little, how would you say, provocative? A little provocative. Got some blowback on that one, but it is what it is. So, after we say this is what road we could be headed down in the first episode, Anatomy of a Race War, 2, we take a look at what should we be asking for in order to avoid that? What should we be trying to do in order to avoid that? And this lays out a whole platform of ideas on what we can do in order to avoid that end. Episode 3 is called This Is the Song That Got Me Killed. Now, I'm going to just be 100% honest with you. If I mysteriously die, it's because of the song. I will never, ever, ever commit suicide. I'll never forget when I was little. Boy George, like OD'd on heroin or something. I mean, with my dad, watching MTV. And I'm like, Dad, what is heroin? It's a drug that you take if you want to kill yourself. I'm like, never taken heroin. But then he goes, and you know, if you kill yourself, you're gonna go to hell. Never gonna kill myself. Actually, I think there's biblical scripture that supports that. So anyway, I'm never gonna kill myself. So if I end up dead, it's because of the song, because I'm actually naming names. I'm putting down a timeline of where it all started to up to today. There's a true conspiracy that's going on to control everyone in the black population, just not in the United States, across the world, has been a test case for their eventual world domination. And you're like, talk about all that crazy shit. Yes. If you don't want to hear about it, don't tune in, because people were telling me when I said the FBI and CIA were crooked as heck during the 2016 election. People are like, hey, where are you getting your information? You're wearing tinfoil hats and you're conspiracy theorists. And tell Rachel Maddow that. Tell Chris Cuomo that. Check my Facebook. It's full of conspiracy theories that came true. All right, so I want to hear it. Episode 3. This is the hardest. The first of the song. It's going to be the hardest one to really communicate to you all. But if we can pull this off, episode 3 is going to be like, it'll blow your mind. Episode 4. Episode 4, Idolatry. I really like this song. It's just, I think it bangs. But I take this really small example of what is going on in our community. That's a microcosm of the bigger issue. And we're going to talk about that. And, we're going to talk about the pervasiveness of all types of idols in our community, and how it's not good, not a good thing. And there's a way to beat that. Number 5, episode 5. Happy 4th. Episode 5 is going to be a tough one for many, many people. Episode 5 is called Genocide in the Black Womb. And it's obviously a pro-life anti-abortion song. And just open your mind. Listen to the history of what I'm going to teach in this episode. And here's the thing about all these. You have to listen to the song. We release the song first. The songs are released. They're on iTunes, they're on Spotify, they're everywhere. We made it super inexpensive, like less than $6. Go ahead and buy it. Like I said, this isn't easy to do, so it could help with the production value. I appreciate anything and everything you guys do. But you have to listen to the songs, put those out. You have to watch the video after you've listened to the song a couple times. Then you got to watch the podcast. Yeah, episode 5 is just, the video is a scrolling Wikipedia page. And so everything that I talk about in this song and everything I'm going to talk about in the podcast is backed up on Wikipedia. And, you know, Wikipedia has its flaws, but I think you're going to get it, okay? So this, I think, is the most powerful episode we're going to have, and I think it's super relevant for today. Episode 6. Episode 6. Hollywood is racist as heck. Look, this is the second complete song that I made. And to me, this one is just so, this issue is so pervasive, and it crosses all the other issues. Look, the bottom line is, the way we're portrayed in the media is not positive for anyone. It makes people have terrible perceptions of us, and it makes our kids feel like that type of behavior is natural and those outcomes are inevitable. And that ain't good. So we're going to break that down. We're going to talk about, there's a lot of stuff from the 80s and the 90s where I was growing up, and it's just, this one, another good one. Oh, I think you're going to enjoy that, especially with folks, 35 to 44, that's what YouTube says. That's who's watching, 35 to 44. Show this to your kids, I guess. I don't know. Maybe not my kid, but your grown kids. Okay. Then we come down to the first song that I wrote on the entire project. In the last episode, it's Black in America. And listen, this song is going to ultimately be the most controversial song that we release in the most controversial episode that we do. We're going to go through it, and I just hope that we've carried you all the way to the end so you can understand this, because this is the one key that I am going to hold till the end. But it's in the song, so we'll discuss it at some point. And I just want you to know, I want everybody that I personally know, that I'm the same guy that you've always known. Okay? I have love in my heart. I have fire in my emotions and in my words. And I'm a warrior. And sometimes you gotta go through a battle in order to secure victory. I know episode 7 is gonna be tough. Bear with me. Once the episode's over and the series is over, The Counterculture series, the first series of the Saint LibCon Podcast is over. I think you guys are going to take a breath and say, I get it. And you're going to say, let's get it. Happy 4th of July, 2019. It's here. We're here. The album has dropped. The first episode, episode 0, is right here on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Saint LibCon Podcast. We are broadcasting from the cave in South Los Angeles. Again, thank you for joining us, and hold on to your seats. It's going to be a heck of a ride. You're being controlled. You're being manipulated. The Democratic Party, they don't reflect our values. They don't reflect our values. Like, oh, you're going to take money away from this school that's been failing for 30 years straight. The left wants us to be dependent. Hollywood make every taxpayer in America pay for abortions. Wants us to be victims. It's like, what are you talking about? Who has taught you that? Like, you're brainwashed. Let me tell you what's really going on. And I'm going to break it down by detail. Each episode has a song. The songs, they have a theme. They have a message. They have a message. And then after we play the song, we're going to talk about the song, break down the lyrics, tell you what the message is. And that is the details that you're going to get on the system. So each podcast, it starts with a song, it communicates something to our audience. We go through that by detail. And after that, you should have a better understanding of the system in a way to break out of the system. The second segment of every podcast it's called the breakdown. It's how we're going to take a look at these lies that are kicked to us, and we're going to break them down. We're going to take a look at them. We're going to say, does this really make sense? We're going to take a look at these things, and we're going to have these conversations. We're usually like, we're peeling back the layers, and then we're like, it's getting uncomfortable. I don't want to talk about this shit no more. Ooh, love and hip hop. Ooh, Miss Kitty. We're going to get there. We're going to pull these layers back and break them down to the very basic core, so you can understand the lies and maybe open up your mind. And we're also going to have a segment, Ride With Me. What this does is allows viewer participation. So each week we're going to ask you guys to do something, provide content to the podcast. We hope it's a way that you can really get engaged and also share your talents with the world. And the action plan is the fourth segment. And what it does is, we don't want to be like one of these places you just talk about its grievances. Oh, yes, what's wrong? We're going to talk a lot about race. And I don't want to be a victim. Oh man, all this race stuff. Everything's about race. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to tackle it. But we're also going to talk about how can we solve these problems. I'm going to tell you about the system. How can you break out of the system? That's what the action plan is about. There's reasons we don't have these conversations. There's reasons why you don't want to have these conversations. Because you know they're garbage. And you got to ask yourself, why don't people want us to have these conversations? Like, why don't you want to have that conversation? You don't want to have a conversation about all types of stuff, right? I mean, they're hard conversations.
Well, I like I said, all I know is I just don't like Trump. Personality-wise. Now, if I have to listen to you all, like when I talked to Kevin today, I mean, the things he was talking about made sense, but I don't really get into those, have an opportunity to get in those kind of discussions with people.
And even when those things make sense, when you hear a long list of policies or accomplishments that either Republicans or Trump or George Bush or Ronald Reagan, all the same stuff, when you hear those, you irrationally just go, I'm not really going to invest my time, and I'm not, again, not speaking specifically to you, I'm not going to invest my time in really understanding and being able to learn that and then spread that information because I hate that person and that person hates me. And that's I think how they have gotten us and how they control your vote. It's like, I don't care what these people over here are doing. It can't be good enough because they hate you. And you're not going to vote for somebody that hates you. That's the whole plan. That's why all this race stuff is going on right now. That's why people are made to hate each other right now. I mean, it's all, people are doing, it's all on purpose. And it's like I kind of saw it for the first time, during the Bush era. When Kanye West, when he gets on TV during Katrina and just says, George Bush hates black people.
Wow.
It was crazy. But and Ronald Reagan hated black people too, right? I mean, during the 80s. So it's the same tactic. And now, all of a sudden, oh my gosh, Joe Biden hates black people.
Yeah, how'd that happen?
How'd that happen?
Yeah.
And we will say, you know what? Kamala Harris, she looks like me. I'm gonna ride with her. Don't care about her policies or anything. She looks like me. I'm gonna ride with her. Rat Party knows one thing. You will not vote for someone who's a racist. If the other side hates you, then you're always going to be over here. They know that. They take advantage of that. And so their whole narrative is, those guys are racist. Be with us. The other day, this guy, social media, why? I'm on the gram, I'm doing it for the gram, right? And this guy comes on and he's like, tell me why you're a black conservative. I'm like, run down all the points. He's like, oh, yeah, same talking points I always have. Starts refuting this one. I'm like, whoa, hold up. Now, why are you a black liberal? And he's like, he goes to point 2, starts trying to take that one down. I'm like, hold up, man. This ain't an interview, it's a conversation. I've answered your question thoroughly. Answer mine. Why are you a black liberal? And after going back and forth and finally get out of him, he's like, well, not that I'm tied to any particular party, but the Democratic Party is the least racist. And here's the thing, they know. If you hate those guys, if you think those guys hate you, you'll never even consider anything they do, even if it's in your own interest, because they hate you. And they're doing those things in spite of you. You gotta get past it. As if there's a whole spectrum of conversations that we're not having because you're like, they fall within this ideology and that ideology hates me. And that's a lie. Some people there hate you and some people over here hate you. Some of us hate ourselves. Some of us hate people that look like us but don't think like us. You gotta get away from all that, man. seriously. You're literally trapped. You're being controlled, you're being manipulated. And it's because you think these people hate you. And as long as you think these people hate you, you'll never consider a whole list of options that you have at your disposal. Like, seriously. And that's their plan. It's exactly what they want to do. And you got to break away from that, because if not, you're just going to be, man, we've been trying this for a long time. We're trying for a long time. You know, when you make a mistake, it's a mistake. When you make a mistake twice, it's a choice. And we've been doing the same thing. And it's just been getting not great. There's a system. There's a system in the United States to hold us down. It's been perpetrated by the Democratic Party since its existence. The Democratic Party developed the first domestic terrorist unit. It was the KKK. They unleashed them on us. They created Jim Crow, black codes, poll taxes, lynching. They did all that. And then all of a sudden in 1965, they signed the Civil Rights Act. And, well, they had us. They said, we're going to turn this around and say, no. We've hated you for years. And those people who used to run the party who hated you and who, now we love you. We want to give you all these rights and give you special treatment. Oh, it's so special. And what they found out was, there's a study done. 65, it was commissioned by Lyndon Johnson. Bigot. What a bigot. Now talk about a bigot. Actually, the bottom line that came out of it that was used by the Johnson administration was that the New Deal created less incentive for families. You could live independently and with assistance from the government in different ways. You had that social safety net, so there was less incentive to have a traditional family. And in all races, they saw this kind of decline. It was slight, but it was statistically significant. And so with the Johnson administration, they said, all right, we're going to do the Great Society, and we're going to target it right at black people. And we're going to create so many disincentives for them to have a family. And the big driving factor, 70% of our kids are born out of wedlock, is a direct result of the war on poverty. You can have as many kids as you want. The government will take care of you, but you can't have a man in the house. And they started killing the black family. And then in 73, they said, you can have as many abortions as you want. And this abortion machine called Planned Parenthood that was set up to control our population was unleashed. These major cities, they already had us there. They had us segregated. They had us exactly where they wanted us. Because public housing will give you. Got a place to eat, place to sleep. You know what the poverty rate for whites in America is? 11%. Blacks, 22%. Blacks that are married, 7%. I learned that from the great Candace Owens, by the way. She's a thought leader. She got banned, actually, from social media. I think Facebook, Twitter, one of the two. One of those places. She got banned for putting out the statistic. And why don't they want you to know that statistic? Because that is the statistic that you should know. You want to get out of the system, it's not hard. Go to school. Get a job. Get married. Buy a house. Have kids. Kind of in that order. That's it. It's that easy. But you're taught to do anything except that. You might be taught to do that. You might be taught that's what other people do. Not us. If we're going to break away from this system, if we're going to break the statistic that says 4 out of every 10 black kids in America are living in poverty, there's a couple things we got to do. We got to take a look at different options. And so I'm not asking you to vote for Donald Trump. Right? This ain't about Trump. It's our time. It's our time to take a look at different options and stop letting these people, don't let these people sell us the same garbage. You don't want to vote for Trump. You don't want to vote Republican. You don't want to vote for a conservative. You don't want to vote for anybody except a Democrat. Fine. Right? You know, their history on race and relations over the last 60 years has been so good. It's like, yeah, look at what has happened to our race, though. So you know the same people who were running the party back in 1865 are running it today. The same pot of money that really make things move and make the decisions. I don't think they just in 100 years after the Civil War, they're just like, you know what? On the 100th anniversary of the end of the Civil War, we are now going to totally switch it up and love black people. Give me a break. The tactics evolved, and look at what has happened to our families. Look what happened to our education. Look what has happened to our children. Look what's happened to our minds. But you want to stick with that. You only want to stick with that. I'm here to tell you, we shouldn't. We should look at other stuff. That's all I'm asking. Listen, look at other options. And if you don't want to look at other options, then you need to, of people. If you want to look at other options of people, then you need to take those options and sit and put them on your people. And say, no. You are not going to And that wraps up our first ever premiere Saint LibCon Podcast. First episode 0, right here. You just experienced it. Now, go get somebody else to experience it. We are spreading the information that most people aren't willing to talk about and have not heard. So go out and grab somebody and bring them here and share this knowledge with them. Make sure they have an open mind. Make sure you have an open mind, and make sure you come back next week. Thursday every week, we're dropping a new episode and we're dropping knowledge. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.